As I am not a financial advisor, any and all content provided by me contains my own speculative opinion on the market. As such, this content should not be used to make trading or investment decisions. This market is extremely volatile, and the decisions you make should be based on your own due diligence. If you should make a trade or investment decision based off the speculative content that we provide, this disclaimer legally relinquishes me from any and all responsibility. Past performance is not indicative of future market results. Trading in any market is extremely risky, and you should conduct your own research and analysis before making any decisions. Well. Welcome back to Blackfire Technical Analysis, everybody. I do apologize for the late stream. Kind of had a little bit of a pet emergency. I have a 125-gallon fish tank in my basement, and I came home, grabbed some clothes from the basement, and one of my massively sized goldfish got a Cory catfish, little bugger, stuck in his mouth. Not a good thing. So I had to fix that issue. It did take about 45 minutes. I actually planned on being on here like 12:20 to 12:30 today. Get a little bit of an earlier stream knocked out, but that did not go according to plan. I do apologize. But with that being said, welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here. If you like the content that I provide, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button and tick that little bell. I will be doing, obviously, nightly live streams and such. But I had a little bit of emergency, kind of a crazy thing. This happened once before, not too long ago, and I guess that it was the same goldfish, and that motherfucker did not learn his lesson. He likes to swallow smaller fish for stupid reasons. Goldfish aren't they're not predators, so it's very uncommon to see what I saw when I came home. But I fixed the issue, and now I think both of us, I think my moderator and myself forgot to post an analysis request, post or whatever in the group. I'm not sure if anybody posted anything in the group chat. No, I don't think so. I guess I could do GSAT. I can do one of those requests, but outside of that, I'm just going to stick with the normal stream narrative here today. Maybe just do that GSAT one more time, and it'll be a rather short stream today. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and move on over here. Check out NASDAQ, see what's going on today. New all-time highs, more all-time highs. Really playing with that one spot 272 Fibonacci extension target there. Again, I do believe that target has been met, and anything above that region, above 14,330, I'm going to be looking for extension all the way up to the one spot 414, right around 14,500 bucks. Stochastics, proving the theory, looking like it wants to, print new highs here, and any continuation in price action will result in new highs for the stochastics here. Again, coiling deep inside that critical zone. I do like that, that type of action. It's just, more or less showing you that, we remain bullish, and until we cross back into the regular bullish zone here, I'm going to be looking for more continuation as a result. RSI giving us kind of, a similar read, except looking like the RSI is exponential. What does that look like? Yeah, it does look like it's breaching through the bottom side of the bullish control zone here, maintaining that positive slope. Again, I really take that slope analysis on exponentials for the RSI extremely serious. But from a long-term perspective, still holding that for our 3-point structure. Still looks good. I'm still looking for this to climb up to newer all-time highs until proven otherwise here. We do see a little bit of weakness, but we still have plenty of time left in today's candle before any kind of rash decisions are made. Now, this was a little bit scary. Again, we do have time left in today's candle here, and we do see a reversal style doji candlestick printed on yesterday's candle. Not saying that it's going to just full-on reverse to the downside or full-on reverse to the other side, but typically when we get these kind of candlesticks, it's basically telling us that there's a little bit of indecision in the market, but that decision will be made one way or the other regardless, I do think, today. And to be quite honest with you, I have to go with the higher side on this one, possibly breaching that one spot 272 here. Now, if we see any kind of pullback all the way to the red 10 simple, that wouldn't be out of the question. That wouldn't be anything too scary or anything like that. Ooh, do we have a pattern? I've been studying a little bit of patterns today, so let's see if this lines up here. Is this a rising fucking channel? Is it a rising channel? Oh my stars and garters! I don't know what you would call that. Let's try wicks. Oh, okay. Okay. So that's the thing about the upside channels is that the mechanics represent the same thing. But I could go ahead and say go on a limb and say, oh, I can't do that, and say that this is a rising channel here. And I did learn a little bit about channels today, and it turns out that rising channels tend to be bearish every so often, but I could be absolutely wrong. Again, I'm using basically wicks here. Maybe if I can, I don't know. Maybe there isn't a pattern here. Maybe this is just straight up fucking bullish. To be quite honest with you, and maybe a rising wedge. Either which way, no matter how you look at it, there is a little bit of a pattern formation here. To be fair, yeah, that works. That definitely works. All the points, maybe except for this this one here. Whatever, it's art. Whatever. We do see a little bit of not a little bit, a big rising channel here on Nasdaq, and I did learn today that rising channels tend to be on the bearish side. And this again, this still has the potential to see a lot of movement to the upside. I won't lie to you there, but again, I've been playing with a little bit of patterns here today, learning a little bit more about patterns. I do think they are somewhat relevant. I'm not a wedge fan, to be quite honest with you, and this does look a little bit more like a wedge, to be quite honest with you. It all depends on where you place it. The amount of degree. It really is significant when you move these lines around here for your analysis. And I think I'm comfortable with putting it there. It does look like a little bit of a rising wedge, and if we see that wedge break to the downside, that'll be kind of our tell that this formation may be ready to break to the downside. But as long as we're above that red 10 simple here, I'm going to be looking for major moves to the upside until proven otherwise. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I'm not usually, again, I'm a levels trader. I still pay attention to the levels first and foremost before, playing with patterns or anything like that. So, yeah, I think continuation for NASDAQ. Let's move on. SPY futures, still riding that resistance, still riding that. Now, we did get a little bit of a rejection, but it's not like, oh, it's rejected, it's coming back down, and nothing too crazy like that. We still have positivity in the momentum oscillators. Again, that long 4-point touch, a diagonal trend line on the RSI here is still holding very, very relevant here. Exponential, slightly more positive, to be quite honest with you. Not too much. Still looking a little flatline, but we did see this break and then back test that positively sloped exponential, and it held. So for now, I do have to stay on the safe side and say that I'm looking for all-time highs on this one, especially because Nasdaq keeps printing new all-time highs. I have no reason not to think that this won't follow suit and do the same here. Stochastics, again, curling back up, bouncing off the middle, the neutral zone, essentially, maybe the bullish-er side of the neutral zone, not really touching that 50 mark, but close enough is close enough from my perspective. Again, technical analysis is an art form, and it's not an exact science. It's never an exact science. And if you think it is, you might want to learn how to do technical analysis because it's not a science. But again, close enough from a stochastic standpoint is close enough for me to think continuation is very likely for this one. Again, unless we start seeing closures below that red 10 simple, I'm not going to be looking for too many targets to the downside. But if we do happen to close below that region, we have, I don't even think that's relevant. I don't even know what the hell that's doing here. It's a top, right? It's the top of the consolidation range. I would look for a little bit of a pullback all the way down to the yellow 21, right around 42.11. Ballpark, give or take 10 or 15 bucks, somewhere within that region. A little bit of a pullback, but again, it wouldn't be necessarily a death sentence because I do think this is a macro base, a macro low as far as the daily chart is concerned, and I would be looking for continuation to the upside. Again, everything is lining up for a move all the way up to the one spot. Well, I would say if we get a break above 42.50 here, a move up to the one spot 272 would be the next target for upside movement. And that's where I'm going to leave that. We'll move on to damn it, I can't talk today, to Dow Jones. A little bit of stress. I was stressed as hell when I came home and found my fish tank the way it was. My fish had swallowed another fish. It stressed me the hell out. So I do apologize for my jumbled words today. I guess I'm still feeling a little bit of the shock from the event that I went through today. I care about my animals, man. I really care about my animals. For those of you making fun of me because I care for my fish so much, you don't get it. You clearly don't get it. Man, I got goldfish like this swimming around in my fish tank, and they're pretty massive. I care for them deeply. When I came home, it shocked the piss out of me. So again, I do apologize for my brain being completely haywire, which is probably a good thing that I'm doing a short stream today. We'll go ahead and look at Dow Jones here. We do see a little bit of a rejection. Well, that's a full-on rejection of the red 10 simple here, forcing price action back down. Did this close below the green 55? Yes, it did. Technically, it did close below that green 55. Yeah, barely, but barely is enough. Closure below the green 55. I have to follow my rules here and assume that this may play out a little bit more to the downside. I would say first target being 33,795 would be kind of like the first target location for a downside move. RSI is what's really telling for me here. Again, that negative slope analysis for the exponential here is playing out very, very, very well here. Saw that nice bounce up. Nice bounce up in the bearish control zone, testing that negative exponential, and it rejected. That is enough for me to call a rejection of that, and downside is kind of where I'm looking. Stochastics definitely say momentum is to the upside. That long-term structure here still is very, very, very relevant, and more proof of that today with the cross back into the bearish control zone, exponential following suit here. Just because I think a little bit of a pullback is coming doesn't mean I think this is going to the depths of hell. If this is to be a base low, likely we see a higher low structure start to play out before this starts moving, like NASDAQ and SPY futures here. But for now, the fact that we closed below the green 55, I have to stay safe and say it's warranted to expect a little bit more of a pullback, again in correlation with the rejection, the RSI rejection of the exponential. I got a couple of points saying more downside, but one point from a long-term perspective saying up. So for now, I'm going to play from the immediate perspective, and the immediate perspective for me is to the downside. That's where I'm going to leave Mr. Dow Jones there. What is US dollar doing? Still consolidating, man. Looking like it might find that base low here. Any continuation above this region here, 91.87. I'm going to be looking for that low call on the RSI and continuation as a result here. Again, that little downside movement, testing that positively sloped exponential. Plays out well if it holds a support for as far as the probabilities are concerned for a little bit more upside price action. But again, from a long-term perspective, I don't give a shit. I'm still bearish on this long-term until proven otherwise, and a change of behavior from a long-term perspective for now is this level here, which is well and far above the blue 377 here, right around 93.25. That's kind of the prior high, the prior structural high that I'm looking at to be broken before I become a little bit more long-term bullish for this asset. And until that point, this could very well easily play as a lower high structure, in my opinion, with targets again all the way back down to that prior low here, 89.30. That target right now isn't relevant. That's really hindsight trading, and hindsight's 2020. So for now, what am I really looking for? I'm looking for a little bit of continuation up to, again, this region here, 92.16. But again, I want to see this level taken out first. I want to see, I want to see a higher low confirmed before I start extending that target up to that region. For now, right here is going to be my kind of test target. And we do see some resistance upon that region, right around 91.87. And until we break that region, I'm not going to fully extend that target to this region here. And if we don't confirm this is a low and we actually break the support, 91.68, the downside move as a result is significant in my opinion, all the way back down to 91.30, maybe a little less, yeah, give or take a few cents, a few tenths of cents, whatever you want to call it. But for now, I'm looking for this to potentially play out as a range until proven otherwise. Stochastics. That's what's really starting to concern me a little bit. As we see pressure on that support level here after that major rejection of resistance here, and the more downside pressure we put on that, the weaker it's going to inherently get. And if we put more downside pressure and break it, we likely see stochastics break back into the bullish control zone. Again, not a death sentence in my opinion. The last low that was printed was all the way back here on the 14th of June, and any closure above this support level could prove to be a higher low as far as this uptrend is concerned. But again, even if price starts to approach that region, I'm going to be very convinced that we're still long-term bullish until proven otherwise. So that's where I'm going to leave that one. We'll move on to Mr. Bitcoin here. Rejection. No, I'm just kidding. I can't really confirm that right now. Maybe a little bit of consolidation starting to play out, but again, I did mention that I thought this, while it was a very powerful move, it's just a bounce in my opinion, and a little bit of downside kind of proves that. Now, if we break below the blue 377, I'd actually like to see it below 32,300. I'm going to be looking for a top call on the RSI, and this is where I set myself up, okay? This is why I set myself up here. That negative exponential, right? We do have a little bit of a structure, a little bit of upside structure, an uptrend structure in RSI, but I don't fuck around when it comes to that negative exponential here. We did see that nice massive bounce after that decline that we saw a few days ago, and look at what we got currently. Currently, it's showing rejection of that exponential, and even with a close above the blue 377, it will prove to be a rejection of the exponential here on an RSI. And I take projections of negatively sloped RSI tests extremely serious, and I would be looking for more downside movement again. Ultimately, overall, I do think this is just a bit of a pity bounce before we see downside continuation. And the more we test lower towards that 30,300 region, the more I'm convinced that we're going to see some more legitimate long-term downside price action for this asset here, unless we close above this region here. 34,500 bucks is kind of the target that I'm looking for any kind of continuation hope to the upside near 37.3. But again, I need to see that level taken out. This was kind of an maybe level. The level that I was looking at was the level that had more touches, right? Okay, so this level here has only one touch. This isn't proof to be a significant level to me. So I might as well just remove that for the sake of the stream here. What I'm really looking for to break is this level here, right around 34,500. I need to see that break. Why is it more relevant than this down here? This has more touches, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's got a shit ton of touches, which tells me that this is a very, very, very significant level. And as long as we are below this level, closing candles below this region right here, I am going to be convinced that downside is going to be the result. Again, if you play the dip, cool. That's awesome. Cool. But I still think this is coming down. If this dip here, if this bounce up, it was enough to convince you of a major reversal point, maybe do some research. I got to be honest with you on that one. Maybe do some research because this is a new low here, and break a structure once again. Got that little bit of a fake out here to reject the purple 200 moving average here. And what do we see? We see that fucking green 55 getting closer and closer to that purple 200. And if we get that cross, yes, I will expect a pump up into that cross as a result. Technical analysis 101, especially when you're playing with moving averages here. Once that death cross is initiated, I'm going to want to see a pull into that death cross, and that death cross basically reject price action and keep price action below the 200 and the green 55 converging, especially after they cross. And once they cross, the more and more they diverge further apart negatively, the more and more convinced that the more and more convinced I'm going to be that this is going to see a more long-term downtrend, meaning that this movement here is just the beginning, in my opinion, just the beginning. Now, if we close below 30,300, that's when things get really shaky from my perspective here, and basically blue skies to the downside. We have a few points that we could consider support, but the historical relevance behind those levels are jack shit, a couple days worth. And again, when it comes to analysis, I need relevant history to be able to make an educated guess on where price action is going to move. But for now, I can lay out levels and say, yeah, these are potential targets, but for me to sit here and say that these potential targets are going to hold, I can't because I don't know. There's a lot of hindsight thinking, and hindsight's always 20/20, but we got targets way lower. We definitely have targets way lower, especially if this again, and this low here, definitely the last low, the last one. Unless this decides to just come back up, whatever, it can happen. It's definitely a possibility, but the probability of this coming more to the downside is stronger, in my opinion. So that's where I'm going to leave Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and do that one for Robert there in the stream. I need some water. Wow, it might be a 25-minute stream. I do apologize. I won't forget to post anything tomorrow. That's kind of on me. As far as requests are concerned, GSAT. Did I just add that to my list? I don't want this shit in my fucking shit. I want this. Okay, so what we were talking about yesterday, we were talking about on this one. Again, expect a little bit of a pullback as a result of that. That new high being printed and resistance being broken. Again, anytime resistance is broken, you have to kind of have to expect a little bit of a pullback. It doesn't have to happen that way. It doesn't have to pull back. It can always just continue to the upside. But expecting a pullback as a result of a new high being printed is better than not expecting one at all. And then seeing a 5% loss on your gains. Where you could have been managing your risk the whole time. So, if you're a real stickler for that kind of thing, and you moved your risk mitigation, maybe even to this point here at $1.65, you would have been shaken out of your position today, and could have been a little bit of a salty salt truck kind of move for you today if you were using risk management, and. Expect pullbacks. Anytime you see new highs being printed, during an uptrend, you have to expect that someone's going to say, "Oh, I'm going to sell." You have to expect that. You have to expect some kind of pullback. Again, it doesn't have to happen that way, but when you expect it, it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise when you come in and say, "Oh, new high printed." There might be a pullback as a result tomorrow, and then boom, pullback as a result. Obviously, we opened higher. We did see a pump up to $2, but it just got sold into. So. Maybe $2 was an area. Does it line up with it? Yeah, maybe it is a little bit of an area. I'm going to mark that off as a little bit of a resistance here. Now, with that being said, I do think a little bit of consolidation, is going to be the likely result before we see any more price movement here. Again, with look at the divergence between the RSI and the exponential here. Got that major move up, breaching into the bullish control zone. Again, with a move of that stature over 2 days, I'm going to be expecting pullbacks as a result. So, a little bit of pullback even further, all the way down to the bottom side of the bullish control zone would not be out of the question. That would actually align with an even further pullback to $1.65. But again, from a long-term perspective, that wouldn't really pose a threat to see a higher low structure. When is our last low? Right here. So we can, in theory, we could pull all the way back to $1.35 and base a higher low on that region. And we've seen moves like that before. Clearly, highs being set, huge pullbacks, boom, huge pullback, boom. So, this might not be the end of the sell-off. Stochastics still very, very erect to the upside. I like what I'm looking at. I like the way it looks. Yeah. So here are the conditions I'm looking for. I want to see closures above $2 again. If we get that, at the very least, I'm going to extend targets all the way back up to $2.55. And any closure below $1.65, I'm going to be looking for full pullbacks all the way to $1.35. And then I would come back and reevaluate the analysis from that point. But for now, I would have to be safe on the safe side and say maybe a little bit more of a pullback could be initiated. 4 hour says not so much, to be quite honest with you. 3 hour looking a little tighter. 2 hour wants to come down. 2 hour one, so on a short term, again, if we see a little bit of a pullback on open from the short term time frame perspective, again, that would not be out of the question. That would not be out of the question at all. But from a daily perspective, any kind of pullback, again, all the way to $1.35 could still be very healthy. It could be a very healthy pullback. We could see a higher low being printed here, and then boom, off to the moon, motherfucker. So that's where I'm going to leave Global Star, and I think that's where I'm going to cut the stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys like the content and you guys want some more content, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please, 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 please come to the channel. I will make you happy. Come to the channel. Come to the dark side, young one. I have free packages and the road, the path that you could take to start your trading career. Yeah. Like, subscribe, and tick the little bell. And come to the most realistic whatever channel and lose all your hopes and dreams. Whatever you want, just come to the channel. I'll hug you. I'll give you free hugs. Who wants free hugs from this creepy guy? All right, guys. I'm a little goofy. A little bit of a stressful day. That's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until next time, stay safe.